Here we go. Running again. It's that time of year.
Oh, I was going to sing a song.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Which one we're going to sing? Break My Stride?
White Snake. Here I go again on my own. Okay, anyway. Yeah, we're back and we're going to talk about running again because the streets are thawing and the temperatures are rising, and anybody who's been inside all winter having cabin fever, it's used to being outside like me, is ready to hit the pavement literally. And so we wanted to talk today about getting back into running if you've had to take a little hiatus over the winter, which seems to happen for me every year. So it's definitely a pattern I can recognize. But sharing tips with you guys today on how to get back outside moving, not necessarily running, just whatever your, or biking, whatever your outside activity is that you really enjoy. Just now's the time to get going.
Or if you want to get started, we'll talk a little bit about getting started with running. If it's always been on your bucket list or not on your bucket list, but you just know you want to do something different. So let's get into it. So it's probably better that we do talk about it today instead of next week, because I might not be a runner after this week.
Well, why don't you share with everybody what you're doing so that we can give them an update on the next episode, because I think this is really exciting. You actually shared it with us back in January in one of our episodes that we were talking about things that we were doing in 2025.
Yeah.
And
day has come.
You're doing a really big thing. So why don't you share it with us?
Yeah. So, as of by the time you're hearing this, I'll be done. But I will hopefully have completed 50 miles.
Take out the word hopefully. No, just kidding.
Nope, I will not. This is a hope that I finish 50 miles on Friday. So every hour on the hour, I will run 4.2 miles. And I'm going to do that for 12 hours straight. So.
What's the name of the race?
Backyard Ultra.
Just so people don't think that you're... whatever kind of crazy they're thinking.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
This is an event.
If you see Jeff running around town.
It's an ultra running event. So
yeah, ultra running event. I've never done anything like this before. I have no idea what to expect. And so therefore, yeah, there's some hope going on. And just due to the cold weather and snow and everything, running has not been all that great. So I'm not quite as prepared as I would like to be.
Okay. That's what I was just getting ready to ask. How are you feeling about it?
The good thing is I have a lot of experience with races and failure and not doing well or not hitting a goal. So it doesn't scare me. Am I a little nervous? Sure. I think anybody'd be crazy to say I wasn't nervous a little bit, but overall feel pretty good. I'm excited to see what I'm made of, I guess, is the real mental challenge is what this one is all about. Clearly it's physical, but for me, it's the mental. When am I going to break? Because the premise of the race is there's only one winner, and it's the person who runs the last lap by themselves. So everybody else in the race is a loser. So I'm going to be a loser. I promise I'm not going to win. But that's okay.
That's okay. You're going to win in other ways.
I'm going to win. I got a personal goal that I'm shooting for, and that's 50 miles. So if I hit that, that'll be a big victory. 12 laps. Yeah.
12 laps will get you there.
That's going to get me there. So I don't even know what else to say.
I think something he said there about failing, really, I think a lot of people don't get started because they're afraid of failing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we can all share experiences on failing. So I think that's a huge thing there is getting over that to get to do it.
Until we succeed at something, we're going to fail at it however many times it takes. And ultimately, there's winning in all of that. But if you can't reframe your story to see that, then,
Yeah. If you don't reframe it, then you're going to miss out on a whole lot of really cool opportunities. Even if I, whatever happens, it's still going to be a cool experience. I'm going to get to, see a bunch of other people do cool stuff. It's going to be a neat experience. I'm still going to feel a certain way, and it's going to be good and bad, but collectively it will be a good feeling. So, and just building that, callous mindset of, proving that we are capable of a lot more than what we actually think or what we think our bodies are capable of in the moment. How uncomfortable do you really want to be? And I'm going to find that out.
You are gonna find.
I can't wait to watch.
I'm a
And I
little
got two
jealous.
people right here that are going to get to witness me
That's right. I will be there.
being uncomfortable.
We will be there.
Yes, we will be there as Jeff's support team. We're going to accompany him on Friday to this race and hopefully be giving some updates along the way and share his success because it's really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm only a little jealous.
We'll see. Yeah.
At least
so-
for the first couple of laps.
Yeah, at least for the first couple of laps.
But yeah, so like, let's just go back to the basics though of like what people are thinking with running like right now. I would say with the weather changing, I'm seeing a lot more bodies moving outside. So I
Yes.
know people are wanting to get back out, or they are / wanting to, but haven't yet. So now it's, what is the first step into getting back into it? What's your thoughts, Josh? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about getting back into it?
Lacing up the shoes and getting out there for the first time. I think that's the hardest part for me. That's why and Tina and I have started these Saturday mornings again, just because the accountability of having us both out there, knowing that, and the first week I sat there by my phone going, is she going to cancel? Because the weather was bad and is she going to cancel? Is she going to cancel? I'm not canceling. Is she going to cancel?
I was going to say, I thought you were saying like, because it'd be really cool if she did.
Well, it did. And, because you're sitting there, you might have a drink on Friday night and you're like, gosh, do I have another drink? Because I know Tina's going to cancel. I just feel it. And fully knowing I wasn't going to be the one to cancel. But
Make sure everyone knows I did not cancel.
She did
Yeah,
not
she did
cancel.
not cancel.
But the moral of my story, we laced up our shoes.
Yep.
The weather sucked. I think it was raining that day.
So just getting out there,
Getting
and
out
just
there.
pulling off the Band-Aid, ripping
Yep.
it off, and just saying like, whatever this looks like today. And we actually talked about that. So I'll chime in on that. First step is being okay with whatever it looks like, just doing it. Just take action. The very first step, which is literally lacing your shoes up and walking outside.
Yeah, I would say, my suggestion would be if you haven't done it in a while is have zero expectations.
That's a good one.
You should not have an expectation that you should be able to do something that you haven't done in 6 months or 8 months. Like running, conditioning doesn't last that long. You stop for a month, it takes a hit. So you should have zero expectations when you go to get back out there for the first time of the spring is like, that would be my first tip. My second thought is do what feels good. Don't do what you want to do. Do what feels good and call that good enough for at least the first day.
I can relate to that 100%. I've had to do that this week. In fact, was sick a couple weeks ago, and then we had the cold weather last week. I am training for an event at the end of April, which it's time to go. It's time to start. And I'm about 2 weeks behind in my head. I mean, I might not be, but I'm telling myself that right now. But I had to go out there this week and be okay with doing some interval running, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I had to be okay with it and with myself and just being like what Jeff just said, like whatever happens, it's good enough and it's done. I get to check it off the list of what I had, of my plan. And that felt good. Like no matter how it felt while I was doing it, and it was a struggle more than other days, but it felt so good to complete it and check it off my list.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than a new person walking in the gym. Unfortunately, like I said, if you take 6 months off of running, call yourself a beginner again because that's where you're at. So just as we try to ease people
beginner
in,
with some experience.
you have experience, and again, then now you can take your to do that.
Yes, and that's why
Experience has taught you
Yes.
don't try to go out
Yep.
shooting out like a cannon.
Nope. I just knew I did what felt good and I did it. And the conversation that I had in my head, because that's when I talk to myself probably the most is when I'm running, was all about like, you're out here, you're doing it 1 foot in front of the other. This is how it's going to get done. And this is how you're going to make improvements. But I'm never going to improve if I just don't start. Right.
So how many people do you think use some type of device to track their activity? What percentage?
Based on what's in the gym, I would say
I would say
a high portion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really bad at numbers. So 90%, 95%. I don't know a
Just
lot.
in this room, 2 out of the 3 of us do, right?
I do most times.
track
Well,
the
your
cake.
runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would another tip that I would suggest is don't use it. First day, don't use it. Then there are no expectations. You can turn off like, what's my pace? If you don't track it, you'll never know. If you distance, you'll never know. Go a route that you don't even know. Just that way, it's literally about just the way you feel, and you can base everything off of that. Versus if you have that little timer going in your ear and it spits out a time that you're like, oh, I'm going too slow, I got to speed up. It's like now you went away from doing what felt good, and you got in your head and letting that dictate how fast you should go, even though you're not ready for it. I know those things happen to me sometimes.
Yeah.
We just did that.
I still track my activities, but I used to run with an app that would come in my ear and tell me my pace and how long I've been running. I turned that off. 5 years ago. I've never turned it back on.
But even tracking the distance, because I know a lot of people, this is something that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean,
but some people see that they didn't get a certain distance. They're like, oh, well, I gotta keep going. You know.
Somebody in this room has been known to run down to the corner and back and forth until they hit a certain distance.
Yeah.
Like the top of the number, like not some random number, crazy number.
Stop at 2.43. You psycho.
Either 2.5 or 3, make a decision.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
You can just.
But you're right.
Not start the watch, not start the distance.
Yeah.
You can go out and say, you know what? I ran today. It felt really good. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what I did, but it felt great. So that way you're ready to do it again. Mm-hmm. Opposed to, I pushed myself to do 3 miles that hurt like hell. I don't want to run for another 5 days or 5 months because now I'm totally discouraged at where I'm at, how it felt.
Yep. So don't go out. Yeah, don't go out too hard.
Yeah.
Don't go out too hard.
So, any other tips for getting started? What else do we need to know?
I don't. What were you
I think
say?
one thing that came to my mind, and it was back to Jeff's race and us being a support crew, is have a support crew.
Yep.
You know, I know that it really helps us because this is 3 or 4 years in a row we've done our Saturday morning runs. Once the weather starts getting nice, getting ready for 5K time. You know, having that accountability partner. So,
and at the gym here, we have a group that meets on Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings, and it's a little lighter in the winter right now because people are busy, and it's okay. Let's just be honest, the weather's not great. But I can tell you that every time I meet with some of the ladies that are still coming, they're like, "Thank you for having this. Thank you for doing it because I wouldn't be here without it." And it's just another testament to having that support system really does help people stay accountable. And if they have somewhere that they said they'd be and they have people they're meeting, they're likely to show up and follow through with it. So,
you know, something years ago that Jeff said very early on when I started here, and, you know, I'm joking, you know, half joking, but he said misery likes company, right? So not that we're miserable the whole time, but, you know,
the first run, you might be a little bit miserable.
Sure. And so company helps get you through it.
Yes, for sure. And if you're just truly getting started, I think if running is the goal, I would start with walking. If you've never ran before, we would just start by going on a short walk. Start
with intervals for sure. Like big intervals, like run 1, walk 4 or 5, run 1 block, walk 4 to 5 blocks, and be good with that and be happy with that. And then work your way up from there.
Yeah, less is more probably at that. If you're just getting started, you know.
It's going to be the consistency that helps you, again, keep growing. The more you do that once and then you make a plan to do it again and again and again, you can increase those with time, and then you're going to start to see what you want. Well, you're going to start to feel differently. You're going to start to feel differently about it. And I've seen that with ladies that I've worked through a beginning running program, just watching them go from that first couple meetings to the 6th or 7th meeting, and they're out there and they're looking at me and they're smiling and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm doing it. It's like, yeah, you are. And you know why? Because we were consistent and we met and we had a plan. And I would say that you can very easily look up plans on anywhere.
Yeah. Running plans. I mean, Couch to 5Ks, all that stuff.
Yeah,
they're all good.
Couch to 5K app.
There's plenty of them as far as that goes. And then, why do you want to run is another important factor to, you know, it's my favorite question. Is why do you want to run? But like, what does running do for you? You know, you need to know what that is. And for most people, it's a feeling that you get. It's freedom from a lot of things, freedom from your phone, freedom from work, freedom it's time for you, that intentional time for yourself to disconnect from all the other stuff that you're always attached to. So, and for me, I get a lot of thinking done during runs. Think a lot of stuff. So, music might be another thing to consider, or what you're going to listen to.
Podcasts.
Yep. Podcasts, music. I don't do runs without headphones usually, so I know a lot of people do enjoy that, though. They like going out and just hearing the sound of life. Yeah, and
That's the worst in the world.
Yes, but
I know some people like it.
Right, but if I'm hiking, I want to hear. I would never want to have headphones on, but when I'm running, I do enjoy it. So yes, music or a podcast, something you enjoy listening to, is definitely helpful, and then it helps take away from the
breathing.
I thought you were going to do it again. And then when you're with people and they're like, am I breathing really heavy?
Am I going to die?
You're fine. Yeah. No, you're fine. Keep going.
Yeah, that's part of the thing. I actually ran without headphones last week. First time I did that.
On purpose or intentionally?
I forgot them here at the gym and I didn't want to come up to get them, so ran. Wasn't that much different for me. I really don't hear the music once I get going, I literally don't hear one song. Some background noise, but it's probably why I suck at music trivia.
Tina's quizzing herself the whole time.
Yeah, Tina's.
Who's the artist? Who's singing it? What album is it? What year did it come out?
Yeah, what's the next lyric?
Who's the lead singer?
That's probably why you're always smiling, because you get all the answers right, and
you get the answers right to your own trivia.
Yeah, and I think another thing that if anybody is either getting started or restarted, whatever words, wherever it falls for you, but I know there is a 5K coming up in Highland on May 3rd. So putting something on the calendar, for me personally, like me putting my plans in place for the run that I'm going to do, really just kind of sparked that why for me, like remembering why I enjoy running and why I enjoy executing the plan. There's a good feeling that comes from that, not just on the day of the race, but leading up to it, just the sense of accomplishing something each time I go out to run, working towards a goal. So Highland has several, 5Ks throughout the summer, and I know one's coming up on May 3rd, and that's the Hydrants, Hoses and Heroes.
Hydrants, Hoses, and Heroes.
They're back with another 5K on May 3rd. So anybody out here listening, now would be a great time to work towards a running goal, and it's something you can do locally and for a good cause.
Yeah. And, one of the best part about races is after the race, well, I know we like to have a good time after we run. I don't know about everybody else.
That's one of my whys.
But why do I go to run the Kirkenfest and the Schweitzer Fest and these other things? Because, we get to have fun afterwards too.
Yep. Hang out.
Have a few drinks.
Yep. Hang out with awesome people that we've completed the event with. Lots of people from the gym like to do these events with us. So it's definitely something that yesterday at one of our workouts, someone's like, I was thinking about the Kirkenfest and what color our shirts are going to be. And it's exciting because we've done it so often that it's a tradition and people are looking forward to it. And that means they're ready to get outside and move, which makes it all the better.
Yeah. And just, there's just something about having a drink with everybody after everybody accomplished something that they've been working on. Mm-hmm. It's not like, sure, we could just anytime have it like a drink just tastes a little better after you did something that you've been working for.
Yeah.
Yep. We do a lot of Saturdays where we run without it. So then when we get the opportunity.
Sure, yes, when we get the opportunity to celebrate, it's certainly something we want to stop and acknowledge everyone's hard work. And what better way to do that than by hanging out with everybody.
Yeah. So, any other big things that people need to know I think that's enough to get everybody back on the pavement, hopefully excited.
Yeah. And, we're here. We always say it every week when we're recording. The stuff that we're sharing with you are all things that we think about, go through, have been through. We've kind of troubleshooted a lot of this stuff. So if you need help getting started with it, just shoot us a message or comment on do we have comments on the YouTube page?
Yeah, you can comment on there.
Yeah, but comment or send a message to us and let us know if you need help getting started or looking at what's the best way to do that. And we'll be happy to walk you through it.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you run down Broadway.